Welcome back, America. On Saturday, members of the Michigan Republican State Committee gathered in the state capital of Lansing and elected former Republican Congressman and ambassador to the Netherlands, Pete Hoekstra, as their new party chair. And it didn't go without drama. Christine Caramo, who previously served as the state party chairman, took to social media criticizing Hoekstra for beginning a charade, while U.S. Congressman John James congratulated the newly minted chairman. Yes, there's a little bit of strife in Michigan, but I know our next guest will get it under control. I've known him for a long time. Ambassador Pete Hoekstra joins us now. Mr. Chairman, welcome. Good to have you on.
It's great to be with you guys. I very much appreciate the opportunity to talk about what's going on in Michigan and what's going to happen in November.
It's such an important time, and I think a lot of people saw this coming. I think there were a lot of problems in the Michigan Republican Party. They knew they needed to steady it. They got someone with your experience, I think, now makes a big difference in stabilizing the party, because right now the polling shows that President Trump's up way large on Joe Biden. This could be a very important state chart of changing political colors right now. How important is it to get the party under control, get it fixed, and get it working again?
It's absolutely critical. We have 8 months to do what normally takes 18 months to do for a presidential cycle. The opportunity is great. The Biden agenda is not very much embraced here in Michigan. It's not embraced, or the Gretchen Whitmer agenda, our governor's agenda, is not embraced in the state of Michigan. This is the governor that wants to give $4 billion of taxpayer money to two Chinese Communist Party affiliated businesses. That doesn't sell. People are feeling the effects of inflation, high interest rates. We're going to do the same thing we did when I co-chaired the president's campaign in 2016. We delivered Michigan to the Trump campaign, first time since the Reagan era, and we won the presidency. We're going to do that again.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I think so, and I know that President Trump has full faith in you. But look, being a state party chair is a very hard job. I don't think that it gets near the respect and glory that it absolutely deserves, because you, sir, have a bit of a mess to clean up. Obviously, there are factions within the Michigan GOP, but also a financial issue. Your predecessor defaulted on a $500,000 loan. How are you going to get all the ducks in a row, herd all the cats, and get everybody on the same page?
Well, number one, I appreciate that on Saturday, Team Trump came on board and said, "Hey, we want Pete Hoekstra to be the chairman of the party here in the state of Michigan." I'm hoping that soon the RNC will recognize the efforts that we took to remove Christina Caramo. Christina is a fine lady, but it was a performance issue. And then we're going to focus on what November means. It's about winning. What this means to America and what it means to Michigan. To be successful, we can elect a president, we can elect a senator from what is now an open Senate seat, we can help build the House majority in the House of Representatives, and we can take back the State House, which means we stop Gretchen Whitmer's agenda. And so if we focus on what's out there, what we can win in November, and what Michigan means, and by putting forward a very positive agenda that Republicans can unite behind, it will happen. Whatever factions we have can be pushed aside until after the election and after we elect Donald Trump.
So I want to ask about a dynamic that I don't think a lot of Americans outside of Michigan may know about yet. We know that the EV revolution has really stumbled and bumbled under Joe Biden. But one of the things that is a truism of electric vehicles, and I think the CBO put out a study on this recently, is that they require far less components in assembly, which means long-term, Joe Biden's EV push is putting a lot of the great auto workers in Michigan out of business. How big an issue? Is this going to bubble to the top in 2024?
Sure it will. All right. It was one of the big things that was discussed during the auto strike in 2023. What about jobs, preserving jobs and those kinds of things? Auto workers are bright people. OK, they figured out a couple of things. We're going to lose jobs with the EV revolution as it's defined right now. The other thing is, as we saw in Chicago, this is a technology that is not ready for prime time. The biggest car lot or junkyard in Chicago over the last couple of weeks has been by the Tesla charging station.
Amazing.
What they see here in Michigan, you're a rural auto worker and you're driving a big pickup trucks, you can't drive to your cottage up north, or you can't drive across the state without trying to find a place to charge it. These vehicles make no sense. Auto workers are bright people. They have figured this out.
Yeah.
Well, and there have been a number of factions that historically vote Democrat that are seemingly moving over to the Trump side. I mean, that USA Today poll that came out, and President Trump is over Biden in both Hispanic support and the youth vote. And then, of course, the numbers moving quite a bit in Black Americans. I wanted to ask you about Wayne County, though, because when we talk about election integrity, there are a number of hotbeds that were issues during the 2020 election. We all remember the infamous pizza boxes at the convention center that were placed up there. We've got 9 months until November. As party chair, what is left to do in 9 months? What can you squeeze in 9 months to secure the election?
Well, I've already talked with folks from the Republican National Committee. They're going to come in and they're going to help us in terms of making sure we put the procedures and policies in place that will give us election integrity as much as we can under the current constitutional framework in Michigan. There was a constitutional amendment that was passed in the last election that doesn't enhance election integrity. We got to work within those rules. We got to do everything we can. RNC is going to coordinate with us to make that happen. I talked with folks from Wayne County at the event on Saturday where I got elected. They are energized. They're saying, "Hey, Pete, don't write off Detroit. Don't write off Wayne County. We can do well here. There are lots of conservatives. Get Trump in here. Get some money in here and get some resources. They're going to run a strong congressional candidate. We're going to fight for every vote all across the state of Michigan."
Yeah.
Good to hear.
Mr. Ambassador, you served alongside Nikki Haley, I think, as an ambassador. What advice would you give Nikki Haley, particularly if she gets beaten tomorrow night in New Hampshire?
I'd like the words of our president. I'm not going to tell her to get out, but I think she should. This primary race is over. Beating an incumbent president is difficult, especially if the incumbent president has the media on their side. We need to really, really aggressively go after this. We need to unite now. Hopefully, I think the president will win a significant margin on Tuesday in New Hampshire. At that point in time, I think Nikki should consider pulling out, bring the party together, focus on the Democrat agenda and how that is making life difficult for everyday working men and women across this country.
Yeah. I mean, my goodness, this time tomorrow, it could effectively be a one-person race, depending on what Nikki Haley decides. I wanted to ask you about President Trump as he proceeds, if he is the nominee, as he proceeds towards the general election. There are a number of independents, people who are in the center, who look at these indictments of President Trump, and it affects their decision. And they, even if they agreed with President Trump's policies, if they don't know a lot about the indictments, they don't know the history of the indictments or the people who are doing the indicting, they might not necessarily understand what these cases are about. I wanted to ask you specifically about Fani Willis and her alleged relationship with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade. A judge has unsealed the divorce proceedings. I'm sorry, we've just got a minute left. Do you think that that's going to affect some of those independent voters and their support for Trump?
I think they may, but I think all the evidence that keeps coming out is, these are all witch hunts. We're experiencing the same thing here in Michigan, where our attorney general is going after the 15 electors from the 2020 election. And, they did the same thing that Democrats have done in the past. These are witch hunts. I don't think it's going to affect many. I don't think it's going to affect many independent voters at all. Elections are about pocketbook issues. And on pocketbook issues, Republicans and Trump win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, polling is pretty darn clear on that. One thing I think the Michigan Republican Party won this weekend. Good to have you, sir. Thanks for joining us. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about the importance of magnesium by Optimizer's co-founder, Wade Lightheart. Stick around. This is a great product. I use it. I want you to learn a little bit about it. We'll have it right after these messages.